So there's a lot of anatomical structures here, so I put it in an animation kind of thing that you can see it one by one. So there's two different things that you can see, different areas that you can see in the spinal cord. So one is this white area, and these white areas are, there's three of them, so these are called white columns also. Okay, these ones, and this also, you have this one which is a different color. So there's three of these white columns. One is called dorsal funiculus, so this is the dorsal funiculus. Then is the ventral funiculus, this one is located anteriorly, and the third one is called lateral funiculus. So there's three of them. Okay. There is also this different color that you see, this is called the gray matter. Okay, so the difference between the gray and white is that the gray matter contains cell bodies, and they may not be myelinated, but the white column is mostly myelinated. So there's a few structures in the gray matter. One is the gray commissure, so this is the area that is connecting the two gray matters on each side. Okay. They have these projections of the gray matter, so there's three of them. So you can have the dorsal horn located in the back, ventral horn anteriorly, and lateral horn which is on the lateral side on each side. So you have three white columns, so one here, and one here, and you also have three horns, so one here, and one there, and there's a connection in the middle. This area that you can see, this is called the dorsal median sulcus. This is a separation of the two sides of the spinal cord, and this is the ventral median fissure. So fissure is a little bit more open than the sulcus. And the central canal, which is a cavity, is a long cavity, and that contains CSF and located in the middle of the spinal cord. There is the spinal nerve, this thing that you see that I showed you before. This is the spinal nerve, and the spinal nerve is made of the dorsal root that contains the dorsal root ganglion. So this is the dorsal root ganglion, and also it's made of the ventral root. So these dorsal roots and ventral roots on each side, if you can see, it is made of these ones, these smaller fibers. These are called the rootlets. Okay. And then there is three different meninges. So the deepest one is called the pia mater, that is attached to the spinal cord. The middle is called arachnoid, and the most superficial but the thickest one is called dura mater. So there is a space around the dura mater, so outside that is called epidural, between the dura and arachnoid that is called subdural, and below the arachnoid, between the arachnoid and pia mater, is called the subarachnoid space. There is no other space deeper than pia mater. So there is no sub-pia, there is no epi-pia space. So if you section the spinal cord, it looks like that. Okay. Going back to some of the structures that we talked about it before, one of them was the columns. So you have the lateral white column, you have the dorsal white column, and this is the ventral white column. You also have these separations. So this is the anterior or ventral median fissure, and this is the dorsal median sulcus. Okay, or posterior median sulcus, same idea. And in the gray area that you have the three horns there, so this is the ventral horn, this is lateral, and this is the dorsal horn. And here is the commissure. Commissure is the connection between right and left, and or between the two sides of the spinal cord. And in the middle you have the central canal here. You also have a white commissure here, a white commissure. The fibers are passing from one side to another side. If you look at it, if I cut it, the spinal cord like this, okay, so like halfway, it's not very exact half, but almost half. The anterior part is motor and the posterior part is sensory. Again, the motor and sensory divided into two parts. Okay, so the motor is divided into somatic, which means it's skeletal muscle, it goes to skeletal muscle, and visceral, that goes to the organs. For example, contraction of the intestine or the urinary bladder, things like that. Okay, And the sensory is also divided into two parts. One is the somatic one, that is more superficial, and that is the skin, okay, and the visceral one, that is from the organs, and that is located deeper. This slide is about the white matter. So as I said before, white matter is made of fibers. Most of these fibers are myelinated, that's why it gives it a white color, but some of them may be non-myelinated. And these fibers may go up or may go down. If they are going up, they are ascending, and this is sensory fibers. And these, if they are going down, these are the motor ones, so descending. Some of them may cross the midline, so these are the areas of the commissures, and they are called transverse, transverse fibers. The white columns that I talked about before, these are all called funiculi. So funiculi is the plural form, and funiculus is the singular form. Inside each white column, there is also something more specific that is called tract. So spinal tract is again, this is a fiber. Anatomically is not much different, but physiologically is different, because these tracts may go up or down, and they may have sensory or motor information. So inside one column you may have different tracts that they may go up and down, okay. So you may have multiple tracts inside one column. So let's talk about the tracts here. So you can see that it is divided into two different colors. In reality it's not like that, but just for representation you can see it like that. So ascending ones are the sensory, and descending ones are the motor ones. So let's talk about the sensory ones. This is the dorsal white column. So this area is the dorsal white column, and that's made of the fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. So fasciculus means tract, and gracilis is coming from lower extremity, and cuneatus is coming from upper extremity. And then is that you have a spinocerebellar. So from the spine it goes to cerebellum. So there's two of them. One is located more posteriorly, that's the dorsal one, and the other one is located more anteriorly, and that's the ventral one. And finally you have two other tracts here. So this is lateral spinothalamic. So from spine it goes to thalamus, and you have the ventral spinothalamic that goes from spinal cord to the thalamus, but they are located in two different directions, so carrying a little bit different information. They're all sensory, but they carry different information from different areas. An easy way to remember that if the spine starts in the beginning, it means this is ascending. Okay, so spine starts from the beginning, so that is going upward. But look at the descending ones. Okay, so you have by the way, that the white commissure can have sensory or motor. The fibers are going both ways, and chapter 16 I will show you how they go, these different tracts. So now is the motor one. So this is the reticulospinal tract. So reticular formation, that is in the lower part of the brain, it's called brainstem, and that goes to spinal cord. So if the spine is at the end, it means it is descending. So you have two reticulospinal tract. One is the lateral one, and there is also a medial one. This one is called the corticospinal tract. This is really important because it is the conscious motor activity belongs to this, but it goes to different parts of the body. This is why you have two of them. So this is the lateral one, and also you have the ventral one. So two different ones. And you also have some other ones that are subconscious. One is called the rubrospinal, the other one is vestibulospinal, and the other one is the tactospinal. So rubrospinal is from the midbrain, and vestibulospinal is from brainstem, and tactospinal is again from midbrain. So spine, if you can see it here, is at the end, so it means that they are descending. So it's an easy way to remember it.